Much love and blessings to all of you, beautiful presence hearts. I wanted to share this quick video with you from a place of a very important distinction for those of you who are sitting in this place of inner silence, meeting the mental body, meeting the emotional body, meeting the physical body, and the debris that are showing up in your field that are accessible as you are allowing them to be seen. There's a very important distinction to recognize when the triggers show up. Triggers can be initiated by yourself, by someone else outside of you. It doesn't matter how it comes, but however it comes, number one, most important thing, that the situation, the circumstance, or the person is the catalyst to what's already been inside and buried inside, and most often is deep from childhood that's really kind of like gotten inside the mitochondria and the cells, so it has never been released, so the energy has been stuck in there, it has not been back in motion. So with this, when a situation encounter that shows up, or within you or within another person, it's that when that initial trigger shows up, that means it showed up because it is on its way out. As it's wanting to be out, so it's first surfacing. The key is with this, you meet the trigger, and I had done a video before how it's a treasure. You meet it. There's a huge distinction between meeting a trigger versus going into the trigger and drowning into the trigger. So please allow me to explain this, because many of you are going to have more things surface within your field, and you need to know how to handle this. There's a huge distinction in this, but you have to be aware enough to be able to distinguish it. So some individuals, when the trigger comes, because it's in their emotional body and it's rattled them, they get pulled into it. And what happens then, it consumes them. And usually that's because it's been a major trauma, somewhere traumatized, and it has not been healed. So the person reduces to that moment, to that time where whatever took place, and the circumstance, the situation becomes so much bigger than the person. And it's often they move to that childhood moment when whatever took place, it brought this overwhelming emotion in them. So that is so much bigger. And what happens is then they move into that, and they get like, sort of like, I call it, they get pulled into that dark vortex because they become the emotion. This practice we're doing is not for you to become the emotion, because you are not the emotion. The emotion is an energy stuck in emotion that's now surfaced to be back in motion, and it's on its way out. So as a result, I call it meeting the trigger. So that means you, the adult you, is able to meet, let's say, a feeling of unworthiness that showed up in you. Somebody treated you in a way where that trigger of unworthiness showed up in your field. So imagine this. This is what's really helped me. I am me in this now, like almost my 50-year-old me, the mother me. And there is like several seats, like council meeting seats. And the seats are filled with the little honey. And little honey, this one right now is sitting, unworthy little honey sitting there. I am here. I am not going to go sit in that seat. I am here meeting it. You see, this is a huge distinction. So when that shows up unworthiness, I can feel it. I can feel like in my solar plexus and what have you. And then when I closed my eyes, I said, okay, high unworthiness, I welcome you. You are welcomed. You are welcome to be here in my body. So I'm not resisting this unworthiness, because this unworthiness has a message for me. So when that unworthiness shows up, I breathe with it, I sit with it, I embrace it. So as me in this now holds a space for it, so that unworthiness, as the little honey that experienced it, doesn't matter what the situation was, because the energy showed up now, meets with me. And I'm able to breathe with it. And it really, you want to give it a good 7 to 8 to 12 minutes with this. And breathe into it. Often I find within 5 minutes, it begins to untangle out of my body, because it's now heard and released. And sometimes I have to tear when, for example, little honey experienced she was not worthy. She was not worthy of getting, for example, this thing that she wanted. She was not worthy of being able to ever have a doll. I didn't have a doll. She was not with the worthiness of whatever. So I allowed her to then cry it. Her cried while I'm still holding the space here. And she's able to go through that while I support her. I am the big, great space for her. I'm the mother that she didn't have in that moment. I'm the father that she didn't have in that moment. And that's the space. So the energy of unworthiness is able to release out of her, the little honey. So then as you hold the space, it begins to release out of you. Now the difference is this. Now some of you are doing this. You are experiencing that unworthiness has shown up, and you feel so bad of the unworthiness, then you go sit in it, and next thing you know, you're drowning in it. You feel horrible, and you lost in touch of reality with anything else, because you've moved into that body, into that moment, into that place and time, and the unworthiness has become so much bigger than it, and you can't get yourself fully out of it. And you think you're doing the inner work, but in reality, what you're doing, you're creating more of that. So this is what I wanted to really educate you on, and the distinction of this, meeting it versus becoming it, because you are not your trigger. When you hold this position, when you're meeting it, you're meeting it in the position of power, from the divine power of your mighty I am presence. And your presence is the great supporter for you, so you can do this inner work. And this inner work is the labor of love, that you have the strength to meet this, and you will shed tear. You will definitely shed tear for that child, and that inner child of yours will also shed tear. And it's a completely different experience, because you're not lost. You haven't lost your grounding. Even the trauma, if it surfaces, like some of you can watch my video earlier about the tow truck, and how I was able to go back to 29 years ago when my dad had that moment. I was able to feel it. I was able to experience it differently, but meeting it and allowing it to release by untangling and by directly meeting it versus going into that scene, drowning in it. It's a very different distinction, and I really hope this helps you as you navigate the next many days, because more will surface. As more will surface, you're able to be in here. Now, if you can't do it in the 1 hour in the meditation, then you create the safe space for it for yourself. You sit in it, because it becomes a living treasure that you have received by being able to untangle it yourself, and you liberating yourself and resurrecting from that place of consciousness that was very retracted, not free, to the liberation of it. And I really hope this video helps you, because one of the things I learned, I can be a guide by exactly passing on what the process that I'm doing for myself as a true transformation and show you the way, but I can't do it for you. What I've discovered is some individuals, their energy is more invested in the resistance, and this trigger has become more of an identity of them versus themselves, and that's why they can't move past it, because there is a deep identity association with that trigger, because that energy in motion sucks them in so deep, and they become fully that trigger, and they lose sight of everything else, and they're drowning. They can't even get themselves out of it. So that's why I really wanted to share this with you, and I know it's going to help you. If you have any questions, please do let me know. And so much love, as it is a deep, incredible inner labor of love, and it does liberate you, and you can completely do it. But the key is meet it here, not go pull into it. You are sitting right here, the trigger is here, you meet in the middle. You're not going to lower your vibration and go into the to trigger whatever that is and drown in it. No, that's not what I am guiding you in any way. So I hope this helps. Lots of love to you, and talk to you soon. Thank you.